in the age of America in 2023. Because in 2023, America likes to exclude the white man. America likes to exclude Christians. America likes to exclude people who have a biblical worldview. However, the kind of exclusivity that Christ speaks of is much, much different. Because his exclusivity is, he is the only way to God. So it's inclusive in the sense of, yeah, from any tribe, nation, tongue, background, whatever, sin. And Christ will include you if you come to him in faith. So it's inclusive in that way. But it's exclusive in the sense of there is no other way. You see that? It's absolutely impossible to be right with God apart from Jesus Christ. There's only one way, through Jesus Christ. So it's not through Muhammad, it's not through Buddha, it's not through you being a good person, because no one is a good person. You're not a good person, right? You acknowledge that. Right? I mean, what do you think? I mean, what's your honest evaluation of yourself? Your genuine evaluation of yourself. What'd you say, man? Yeah. Yeah, we're just having open conversation out here. We're just talking about it. So you don't know? Well, when's the last time you watched pornography? Let's start there. Because you said you were open-minded and you're not religious, but you also watch pornography, right? And if you notice people who are outside of Christ, the reason they don't want to come to Christ is because they watch pornography. Is that right, my man? Because you love pornography more than Christ. Because you know, hey, if I follow Christ, if I turn to Christ, that means I got to leave the porn alone. And we don't want to do that. So what do we do? What do? You continue embracing the life of pornography and self-autonomy and thinking that you are God and you get to define right and wrong and you get to define what's true and what's not true. Instead of coming to God and letting God evaluate for you, letting God judge and not you. You see what I mean? So it always makes sense. You said you were open-minded. You're not open-minded. In the way that Christ says you're not. Christ says that, okay, he came that you might know the truth. And here the truth is being proclaimed, and you're so open-minded that you would reject that claim that Christ is the only way to God. What's up with that? It's not open-minded, that's closed-minded.
I mean, personally, you're just kind of like assuming things.
I am assuming things based on what you said, though.
You can't just like jump based on this.
Yeah, you can. It's just carrying out the so you say something and you carry out what you say to its consequences to kind of flesh it out and bring it out, and then it leads to that. It yields to what my evaluation, right? So tell me where I'm wrong. So you say you're open-minded, and I say, wow, that's very noble, unless you're closed-minded when it comes to truth, and you are. Because here is Christ saying he is the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through him. And you're saying, yeah, but I don't like that. So that's closed-minded, right?
I didn't say I don't like that. You just
Well, do you
said
like
I
that?
said that.
Let me ask you a question. Do you like that? Because if you do like that, that means you would follow Christ, right?
I mean, yeah, that is technically
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
But you can like something but not follow it.
No, I mean, you can say you like something and don't follow. But if you truly like it, if you truly believe it, you will follow. That's just a fact, right? If I truly believe something, I will follow that. And that's why Christ says you're known by your fruit, not just your words. They profess to know God, but by their deeds they deny. I mean, it's easy to say things with your mouth, but by your fruit, by your actions, by your life. Do you believe God? It is demonstrated by your life. Do you follow Christ? Do you follow God? You know what I mean? So my friend, I enjoy talking to this guy. I don't know you as well. I'm sure we would have good conversation too, I'm sure. But I have appreciated, one thing I appreciate about this guy is that he is deceived about his open-mindedness, but now he's starting to see that, right? You're starting to see that? That you're not as open-minded as you wanted to be or you wanted to think about. That's why Jeremiah says the heart is deceitful, man. We flatter ourselves, don't we? We try to kind of pump ourselves up and pat ourselves on the back and go around and think, wow, we're very open-minded until truth comes along, and now I don't want to follow truth. That's the worst kind of open-mindedness that you could be. It's like the Pharisees. You know the Pharisees, when Christ came and Christ says, okay, who do you say that I am? And you know what they said? Well, I don't know. They wanted to be open-minded. John the Baptist, was his baptism from man or from God? I don't know. I want to be open-minded. Those people are in hell today. Their open-mindedness led them to judgment, to damnation. You don't want to do that, right? That's why when Christ comes, man, and Christ is saying, look no further. Here is the truth. You no longer have to investigate or examine things as far as what's true and what's not, because I'll tell you, here it is in the Word. Here's truth right before you. No, look no further. Come to Christ, he says. Come to me, all ye who are weak and heavy laden, and I will give you rest for your soul. His yoke is easy. His burden is light. He will give you rest for your soul. He will give you rest for your inquiry, for your searches, whatever it is, right? And he's saying it's right here in front of you. Come to him. Come to Christ. His arms are open wide right now, right? Amen? What a glorious God. What a gracious God that he would come and rescue sinners from their sin. He'll rescue you, my friend, from your pornography addiction. He will. He will deliver you from that. How come we all... My friend...
Jumping to conclusions.
Okay, well, when's the last time you watched it?
What does that have to do?
Oh, yeah, see?
I mean, I'm asking you.
See?
I just,
Well, because it's a heart issue. See, the reason people don't follow Christ is because of sin. And it could be pornography, or it could be, let's say you didn't watch porn. I don't know. I mean, we know you do, because it's based just, I mean, come on, right? At least you're not lying about it. Some guys will come out here and they're like, no, I stopped. And then you start investigating a little further, and you realize what they mean by they stopped is they stopped last night. All right? So at least you're being honest about it. I appreciate that. Or put it this way, at least you're not lying about it. So that's cool, That's cool, right? You got to give them that. That's cool. And you wouldn't say that you want to be God, but by the way you live, you try to act as though you are God. You see what I mean? Because now, look, the unbeliever sits outside of God and tries to evaluate and make judgments about God. Well, what does that make you then? If you're the one who gets to judge God, what does that make you? Well, it makes you a type of God. You see that? And that's the problem that even Adam had in the garden. Whenever Satan comes and tempts Eve, what does Satan say? You can be like God. Wow, well, that's exactly what I would love. I would love to be like God. Now, Adam didn't come out and say he wants to be like God, or that he wants to be God, but by taking the fruit and eating it, it was a demonstration that that's exactly what he wanted. See? And in our culture today, that's exactly why people hate the idea that a man cannot become a woman, or a woman a man. Why? Because they want to be God. They want to be able to change reality. Now, you don't see the correlation there? Think about it. They're trying to change reality. Well, who can dictate what is reality? Well, God can. See that? So you don't get to change reality, right? Just based on feelings. And that's why, the sign, for instance, atheists don't get to come out. They can say they're atheists, but that doesn't make them an atheist. They know that God exists. They can see that God exists based on what God has made, based on their conscience, based on the fact that they're made in God's image. So what they're doing is they suppress the truth and unrighteousness. And my friend, I want the same thing as far as the knowledge goes. I want you to know these things as well, that you're doing something very similar here by pretending you're open-minded. But when it comes down to it, you're actually more closed-minded than any Christian who's alive. Why? Because the Christian is open-minded to truth. Therefore, he follows Christ. The non-Christian is open-minded to everything but truth. Therefore, they don't follow Christ. I would agree with that, absolutely, 100%. I appreciate that, my man. What's your major, dude?
Animal science.
Man, such a smart guy in animal science. That's a noble thing, though. I actually know a lot of smart people that work with cattle and that kind of stuff. What kind of animals do you like?
Companion animals.
Very nice, like dogs. Very nice. I am a dog hater. Is that? I don't know what that means. I really don't like that. I like cats, though. Does that count? Are you a cat guy?
I work with a lot of them. I don't have a preference.
That's a fair. You see, he's got to say that, man. That's a good. Yeah, very good. You got to say that. I appreciate that. Now, what year are you in college?
I'm a freshman.
Freshman, first week? First week of school. Where are you from?
Houston. I was
Is
born
that
here,
right?
moved to Houston, and moved back.
Is that right, man? So first week of school. What year are you? Freshman, first week? Awesome, dude. Where are you from? Yeah, very cool, man. Awesome. And he's a freshman, yeah? Yeah, from Dallas? Yeah, that's right, man. So we got a nice little group of freshmen here. That's good. Now, Colby's a sophomore. He was a freshman last year. Junior? Senior? Shoot, man. A senior and you have a year and a half. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. College has changed a lot since I've been there, I'll tell you that. But here's the thing, my man. Okay, let's go back to your situation. All right, everybody is closed-minded. That guy is exactly right. Would you agree with that? What do you think?
In ways, yeah.
This is a good way to facilitate just some discussion, right? So in ways, we are closed-minded. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And I would also say that we are also all biased. Is that right? We're all biased? What would you say to that? Absolutely? You guys? Yeah? Mari thinks so? We're all biased, right?
Of course, using our court system with bias.
Okay, exactly. So we're saying, now let me ask you another one. And this one's going to be a little more tricky. Are we all brainwashed? Yes, man, yes, the guy's right on. We've all been brainwashed. Have we all been indoctrinated?
May not be the most.
My man says no. What do you think? Have we all been indoctrinated or not?
Technically, yes. It doesn't have to be the most
Yeah, it's not necessarily
extreme thing,
bad.
but like if you look
Not
at
bad.
one country's ideals, they can say that we've been indoctrinated by capitalistic.
Exactly. Man, you guys are smart for freshmen. I
It's
tell you
all
what.
the eye of the beholder of who you talk to.
I'm encouraged, man, because usually you get a new batch of freshmen and it seems like intelligence level declines every year. But these guys, this is a smart group right here. You guys are right on here. I like this. I mean, most Texas Tech students right now wouldn't be on the same level as you guys. You guys are just coming in. So that's cool. It's hopeful. I mean, that's encouraging as a gospel preacher. How crazy is this? This is the absurdity of secular humanism. We've all been indoctrinated into this and actually believing this. And therefore, you know, the problem with this is, okay, on the one hand, it's attractive because it means there's no God, there's no judgment. I can live as an animal. I can live as a chimpanzee. I like that, right? I can watch pornography. No one's going to hold me accountable for it. I like this. I appreciate this. That's what I'm after, right? As somebody who loves myself more than I love God, I want to be God. So macro-Darwinian evolution allows me to play God, be God. Okay, that's the cool thing about it. The bad thing is that if macro-Darwinian evolution is true, then there would be no way to account for life, for truth, for the laws of logic, for beauty, for science, for natural law, for any of these things. And not only that, even when it comes to morality, now you got a very serious problem. Namely, let's talk about the problem, so-called problem that we have in our country, and it is a problem, especially if you're a white man. But let's talk about the oppression against certain classes of people in America. Namely, the white man, the most oppressed class in America. You know that. You've gotten some of that, right? The man knows. Now, I know as freshmen, you're like, man, I don't know if I can say this. I don't know if I can nod to this guy, but we know you know this is true. But my point is this, okay? Remember about 3 years ago, we were hearing Black Lives Matter. And I would say, you know, and you should have seen me on the front lines. You can at Christ in the Wild Ministries on YouTube. You might be able to find some stuff on Twitter at Texas Preacher. Okay, you find, if you got to go back a little bit, but 2 or 3 years ago, what were we doing? On the front line saying, you know what? As a Christian, we are the only ones who can actually say Black Lives Matter and have a basis for saying so, an argument for saying so. If you hold to macro-Darwinian evolution, if you hold to secular humanism, there's no way in the world that you could argue for Black lives having any kind of value, worth, or dignity. Because why? They come from stardust. They come from a primordial puddle of a bunch of different ingredients. They come from wells. Exactly. It's not just the black man at that point. No life matters, right? But a Christian can come in and say, no, black lives do matter. Well, what's the difference? Well, Christians know that black people are made in God's image. It's a big deal, right? To be made in God's image. Therefore, to discriminate against black people is wrong. Yeah, it's evil, it's immoral. Why? Because they have value, dignity, and worth instilled and endued in them by God. Yeah? Right. So that's where we are. That's where we are in the nation today. So why is that? Well, it's because it's a religion. It's a very zealous religion. You see that? If you come out and say, actually, I don't think that we came from chimpanzees, believe it or not. What? You know, it's like, man, this guy's the biggest idiot to ever walk the face of the earth to actually think that we don't share a common ancestor with the chimpanzee. That we didn't come from sperm wells. I mean, this guy's a moron. But then you actually look into it and you realize that, okay, whenever you go to these museums, going back to the Houston Museum of Natural Science and History, you go to that museum and you see these enormous skulls. You see Lucy and all Lucy's magnificence, and you think, wow, I had a beautiful aunt. My Aunt Lucy was beautiful. But then you start realizing, you know what Aunt Lucy consists of? The actual skeleton of Lucy is basically just a little piece of skull that they start with. Yeah, they start with a piece of skull, okay? They have a piece of skull, and then they start saying, well, we don't have anything else, so we have to now imagine what Lucy would have been like. We have to use our imagination. You know what I call that? A faith-based religion. right? And it's not only a faith-based religion, but it's a way to manipulate people into thinking certain things that are true that turn out to be false. So that's the kind of religion it is, because it's all fanciful. I don't know if you guys knew that. I mean, even when it comes to like the color and the framework as far as how she looked or he or whatever, they have to they're imagining all of that, and then they put out the skeleton, and they don't tell you that when you're looking at the skeleton, that this is basically like a piece of a skull with a bunch of basically artistic rendition and imagination to make up the rest of that skeleton. Did y'all know that? Now you do that living in Houston, yeah? It's a bunch of nonsense, my friends. The common ancestor with the chimpanzee and the human being. Yeah, that's quite a stretch there, right? That's a big stretch, and that's why macro-Darwinian evolution can never be called a science. Science requires what? Observation. You can't observe macro-Darwinian evolution happening. You can't observe that. It's non-falsifiable. In order to do science, in order for it to even be a theory. You know, people say, well, it's a theory. It's not it's just a theory. It's not science. Well, in order for it to be a theory, according to science, it has to be falsifiable. The macro-Darwinian evolution is impossible to falsify that. So it's not a theory. It's a hoax, my friends. It's science fiction. It's a fairy tale for adults. It's a fairy tale for people who are trying to interpret reality without God. And when you try to interpret reality without God, and you try to pretend like this is a closed mechanism, a closed system, then you do have to come up with some really fanciful, and this is why the Bible says, the fool says in his heart there is no God. Y'all see that? The fool? Explain to me what you mean, my friend. You're not entirely wrong.
Science to explain things in different ways, but religion is also the same way, just in a different form.
You're not entirely wrong. This man's not wrong. But I would have to say, okay, when you say religion, do you mean secular humanism? Like, that's a very broad term, you know?
Any religion. You look at
Let's look at Islam. I love that.
They make sense out of why the sun.
Now, why are you picking on Islam, by the way?
It's just a religion.
Do you not know that if this guy is being very politically incorrect right now?
Or it could even.
That is a non-touchable religion. You can't pick on Islam. Number one, you know what's going to happen if you pick on Islam? You might get somebody out here that chops your head off.
And
we've seen that happen.
And then even then, if you look at the Egyptian mythology, they have a whole reason as of why.
Now you can pick on the Egyptians. That's fair.
Why you
fair
rise in
game,
the morning,
they're not
rise in the morning, why you die, what happens.
Right.
They use
alligators. Remember that? I mean, if you die, you know, you become an alligator. Lizard.
Japan uses the reasons as of why your house is so horrible, because you've never taken. Every religion has something.
Isn't this amazing? So all of these, and the man is exactly right. But the you know what the common denominator is here in all the religions he's named? Is that they're all false religions. They don't come from God. They're spin-offs from the one true God. So do they hit on certain truths? Yes. And let me give an example. Islam hits on certain truths. Islam recognizes there's only one God, for instance. It's not to say they believe in the same God as Christianity, because Christians recognize Christ as God, and they would not believe that. But it is true that they would say there's only one God. Okay, so they hit on that. They hit on some truths. That's true. There's only one God. Yeah, there's only one God. Only one. So that's true. And it's true that God is just. They would believe that God is righteous, okay? But here's the thing, okay? They are also spin-offs or deviations away from truth. And that's where they get into, that's why, so on the one hand, it's attractive because there's enough truth there to attract people. But because it's false, it's not a true religion. It's not a true demonstration or example of what God is like or who God is. And therefore, it's not real. Well, they could, but they wouldn't be able to back it up with arguments or with because, I mean, when it comes to Christianity, my question to you, my man, is this: why do you not follow a man who, though he was dead, now he lives? Why do you not follow him? I mean, how insane is that, right? You get a guy who dies and he's raised from the dead, he wouldn't even follow? How insane do you have to be to not follow the God of the universe who came to die for sinners, and then he was raised from the dead for sinners? And you're like, nah, I would choose what? I want to hear this. I choose
to observe, not worship.
To observe what?
All the religions, all the beliefs.
See, this is the sin of the fake open-mindedness. It's kind of what we're talking about. You see what I mean? This guy chooses to observe all the religions, right? But he's observing them from a new, quote-unquote neutral. Now, you admitted that there is no such thing as neutrality, right? But here you are, so you're saying that you are objectively observing all the religions? Or no, you have an ingrained bias against truth.
I just want to learn about them.
But you don't, see? Now, why do I say that? What's that? Judaism? Yeah, Christianity is the fulfillment of Judaism. Amen. I love Judaism. Christianity came from Judaism. So as a Christian, I actually follow the Jewish Messiah. Yeah, so I can say it this way, I'm a Jew.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Yes, yeah, I can.
You can.
Well, according to the Jew, Jesus Christ, he says I am. According to the Jew, Paul the Apostle, he says I am. According to the Jew, James, I am. According to Luke, the Jew. According to Matthew, the Jew. According to Mark, the Jew. According to all the other Jews, true Jews, I am a Jew because I believe in the Messiah.
So do you follow all tenets of the Torah?
Christ did. My Messiah did.
So do you
Yeshua.
So do you do, though?
No, I don't have to. Messiah did.
So if someone follows the Torah and you think you are following the Torah from the Bible, you don't follow the Torah
Christ
also?
is the Torah. Christ is the full expression of what the Torah is.
The Torah's...
Yeah, Christ fulfilled all 613 laws of the Torah.
Okay.
And so now I follow him. He's the Messiah. That's the point of the Messiah when he came. And did you know when the Messiah came, you remember all the sacrifices in the Old Testament?
I do.
Remember all the animals, all the bulls, all the goats, all the blood, all the guts, right? And did you remember the Passover lamb?
I do.
Okay, now the Passover lamb was applied to the doorpost and the lintel. Why? So that the judgment of God would pass over that house, right? The blood of the lamb. Now there was a Jew named John the Baptist. He was more Jew than any Jew alive today. And this Jew, when he saw Messiah, Jesus Christ, come, you know what he said about Messiah? He said this. He said, "Behold the Lamb of God who came to take away the sin of the world." How is this Messiah the Lamb? You know how? Because his blood was shed. He was the unblemished Lamb. So all the sacrifices in the Old Testament pointed to the sacrifice that Messiah was going to make when he came to earth 2,000 years ago. And he went to the cross. And I love it because now the Bible says that if you're a Gentile, you can be grafted into the Jewish faith based on your belief in Messiah. And that's exactly why I was saying I am more Jewish than any ethnic Jew who rejects their own Messiah out here today. There's no doubt about it. And my friend, well, you say no, but here's the reality. The Messiah has come, and what are you waiting for?
See, I was Jewish. I'm not anymore. I don't care about religion. Religion to me is a stupidest ideology.
Yeah.
It is an old-time faith that we need to
Sad.
somehow...
It kind of breaks my heart, in a sense. I mean, it's kind of like, what's up with this? So you're saying, my friend, look, I mean, it's not like you've exchanged religion for non-religion.
No, I have.
You're just as religious as anyone else.
No.
Oh, yes, you are.
No.
What's your name?
Emily.
What is it?
Emily.
Emily?
Yeah.
So, Emily, when you look in the mirror, you see your God.
Nope.
Yes, you're an Emilite.
No.
You're a worshiper of Emily. That's Emily's God.
I don't worship myself.
Sir, that's a beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
Emily.
I chose it.
I believe it. I do believe that. And see, I mean, of all the names that you could choose, I mean, why not Emily, right? Why not Emily? Let's go with Emily. All right, now Emily, let me ask you a question. At what age did you begin to hate God?
Let's see, age 12.
Age 12. That's when you started hating God?
That's when I hated all of religion.
Okay, so God. So when did you,
Okay.
and my question is this, so why did you start hating God?
I did not see the actual benefit of me seeing suffrage of everyone else around me and everyone in the world and see why is God not doing anything? Why am I forced to believe in something that I've not seen any aspect of him in the current world?
Yeah, I see. So Emily, you would say that the injustice in the world is wrong, it's evil.
I'd say all. No, I didn't say any. I said
All.
the Christians, the Islam's, Jewish, any race, any religion, they all have something happen. Even natural disasters.
Yes.
They're all from God.
Now,
so why
Emily,
can't I
let
stop
me
any
ask
of
you a
it?
question. So you know that God exists. You
Nope.
just
I don't believe
now, how
God
can you say
exists.
no when you were just basically talking about how you hate God? You
I
said
have
you
a
hate
basis
God.
of why I do not believe he
Okay.
exists.
But let me ask you something, Emily. If God does not exist, why is it wrong to why are earthquakes wrong? Why is it wrong to oppress somebody?
Why is it wrong to
Yeah, if
kill?
God doesn't exist, why is it wrong to oppress somebody? Let's start with that. See, I can say it's wrong because I believe in God, right? Because I can say, well, people are made in God's image, therefore you shouldn't oppress. Therefore you shouldn't be a racist. But for somebody who's like, I don't believe in God, God is a monster. It's like, Emily's a great representation of what a true atheist is. I don't believe in God and I hate him, that kind of thing.
I'd say I hate
So
him.
Emily hates the God he says he doesn't believe in. Okay, fair enough. But, Emily, you have a significant problem now. Because if there is no God, there's no way for you to have a meaningful basis upon which or by which you can claim or evaluate something to be evil.
I can.
Okay, let's hear.
What? Why something is evil?
Yeah, upon what basis do you claim or what standard do you use to call something evil?
If it causes human life harm or any.
Why would that be the standard? What's wrong? Why would it be wrong to cause human life harm? What's so great about humans? If there is no God.
It is the only thing we have conscious of right now, we have scientific conscious of, and we are the basis of a civilization. So if we are the basis of a civilization, we are making our own rules, so we're applying their own ideas of death to society. So we're saying death of humans is the worst criminal thing you can have, so why would I not believe that that's the worst crime you can commit? So we're basing off all laws are based off death.
You have I'm really confused here. Really confused. Okay? So you're saying that it's wrong for a human to die. But when you use wrong, do you realize you're making an ethical claim? And I'm asking you, where are you deriving this term, this idea of wrongness or rightness? Where does that come from when you deny God?
What does God have to do with anything in here?
Well, you tell me. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, let's get rid of God, and not that you can, but let's say, okay, so you're saying there is no God, but it's wrong. Well, according to who is that wrong?
According to humans.
Not the humans that murder people, not according to Adolf Hitler, not according to people who are murdering their babies.
That is we're doing a general aspect of all human life and all the conscious of humans, not just the very minute details amounts of.
So you're saying because human beings have consciousness, it's wrong to murder them?
Yes.
Okay, cows have consciousness. Are you a vegan?
You actually said animals don't have consciousness when you said chimpanzees don't have consciousness. Now you're
No, nobody said they don't.
You did. You just said.
I said we don't share a common ancestor.
No,
with
you
chimpanzees.
said consciousness. You said chimpanzees do not have consciousness.
No, I say when they're a primordial puddle of different ingredients in a stew, and that millions of years ago, so-called, they don't have consciousness there. Stardust doesn't have consciousness. Cows have consciousness. So my question is this: so why is it wrong to murder a cow or kill a cow? Are you a vegan?
I'm not a vegan.
Okay, so you're a hypocrite.
No.
So I see. So you're saying it's wrong to kill a human, but it's not wrong to kill a cow, even though humans and cows, according to your worldview, came from the same place, and they both have consciousness. So why is that? Tell me how that works.
I mean, one, you're also asking me why it's wrong to kill a cow. You also.
I do kill cows, and I can tell you why. Because cows are not made in God's image. Human beings are.
They're not. So why
Therefore,
God
human
hate them?
beings have value, dignity, and worth that they derive from God, and that's why it would be wrong to murder a human being.
If they came from God, if cows came from God, then why are we killing
Cows are made for man.
for man?
Cows are made to be used by man, for man to have dominion over cows. Yes, cows are made for us. Yeah.
So we're killing.
Yes,
things
my friend,
made
we are
by God.
killing cow. But you haven't told me exactly. You haven't even hinted as far as. You see how hypocritical this is? You're saying it's wrong to murder human beings, but it's not wrong to kill cows. And your reason for that is because human beings have consciousness, but cows do as well. So tell me how that works.
Consciousness is a very minute. It's a very hard thing to describe. Do they have living thought? Do they have?
I'm not talking about what consciousness is. I'm saying why is that wrong to kill a human but not kill a cow according to your definition? That's what I'm saying.
Not a human.
What's that?
A cow isn't a human.
A cow is not human. So it's right to kill it, or it's okay to kill it.
Yeah, it's okay to kill it.
But what? That's what I'm. So are you a Christian?
No.
Okay, so you are?
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay, so why is a cow different from a human? Or in other words, why are you justifying killing cows but not killing humans?
Because we are human.
Yeah. Okay, so you're basically saying you're just biased towards humans.